Okay, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so general, well, it's an ambitious title. It will be less than that, but still, general introduction to legislation and organization concerning the public sharing of health data around the world. And first, a few facts about digital health. So first, where is the information? In scientific literature, of course, in your smartphone and the tech giants, and in administrations and medical institutions everywhere in the world. I will not speak about scientific literature at the moment. I will only speak about, let's say, health data coming directly from citizens. So it seems that 30% of data in the world at the moment is health data. It's an incredible quantity. There are like 400,000 healthcare applications in the application stores. That's also incredible. You have also big actors like Garmin and Watch, but you have, yeah, hundreds of thousands of other quite big actors and many small ones. But there is zero public space where people can really share their health data to make it available for everybody. One of the big problems of big data in this situation is what's sometimes called the problem of trash in, trash out. So you need good data, especially for health, to avoid that the results of the results of statistics are with bad interpretations. And the big question is how to guarantee it. The fact that you have big data, big health data in many countries and from many sources can be an advantage, but it's also very often a big problem. It's also very often a real big problem because when you have specific commercial software and when you have specific companies, some small changes in the data will be interpreted by the let's say the algorithm will be interpreted by the artificial intelligence like if it was related to the health, where it is related to the origin. Theoretically, the solution for many problems related to health data is anonymization. So it means that it's totally impossible once the anonymization is made to find the data back, and also pseudonymizations, what's less good, let's say, to be sure that less good for privacy, but better for sharing data. And one other big problem is that's more a general problem of, how can I say that? More general problems not related to bad data directly, but the fact that negative results are many often not available makes that when people are seeing this data, they see only positive results and they miss what is not working. So I think that there are at the moment two domains where big data still not provide reliable results. So it's weather forecast and health statistics. And as far as the weather is concerned, many people complain about it, but sadly, people complain less about bad health statistics. And it was sometimes very spectacular concerning COVID-19 statistics, for example. I could give you examples in my countries for months, for example. It was impossible to have the average lifetime of death in Belgium from the people who are victims of the COVID-19. Now, I will speak about the big data situation in Europe, but of course, I will not be able to speak about all countries. But the first thing is about, there is a beautiful declaration coming from the Commission for the to the European Parliament. It's in the context of artificial intelligence proposals made by the European authorities. And in one of these documents, there is this sentence that there is the goal by 2025 to ensure that citizens from all the member states are able to share their health data with healthcare providers and authorities of their choice. So it could be also with scientists. There is also in other document of the, but there are still projects, but there is also in documents of at the European Union level, the somehow new concepts of individual and corporate data altruism. The idea is to create contact points, to create organizations who are with non-commercial goal, and where you are able to have data, especially health data, especially in a kind of a European health data space. And this health data is somehow independent from, let's say, commercial interest. There are many legal and ethical aspects. You know, you probably all know here that there is in Europe the General Data Protection Regulation, very complicated, very heavy. Theoretically, not always there for scientific research, but practically always there for scientific research. And there is the problem of social acceptance of sharing health data. Normally, I would say in an ideal European world, ideal European context, the regulation should focus only on the ethical use and data to ensure that health data is for health and research purposes. But practically, once again, it's often that everything concerning sharing data is blocked. So in many countries, it seems that it is in 16 of the 27 European countries, there is one portal site. So in my country, Belgium, there is one portal site for citizens to share and, well, to consult their health data, and one one public site for scientists. But the problem is, this is an example of my own medical files. You see, it's written here in Dutch. Toegang niet geopend door het ziekenhuis. So I will translate. It's access not open by the hospital. So all documents that I normally could access are closed. It's one example that I took. It's not all documents, but it's about, I would say 80%. Another example is France. In France, you have a beautiful system called Health Data Hub. It's there to ensure easy, unified, transparent, and secure access to health data to improve the quality of care and support for patients. The idea is this organization, this public organization, is making it possible for scientists to access statistics data who is already available. The problem is practical. You see, that's one of the sentences that you can read there. That's not because you don't speak French that you don't understand it. That's because it's very complicated. And you need actually 3 authorizations when you are a scientist in France to be able to access the data. And actually, there are about 700 people who were, at least 700 groups who were asking access to data, and there were about 8 studies approved. One of the best countries in the world to access data is Finland, with an organization called FinData. Very positive is the principle of opting out and not opting in. So it means for the citizens, if they don't want to share the data, they have to say it. If they don't say anything, it's supposed to be allowed. The access has to be paid. That's less positive, but I think it's not very, well, it's not very expensive for scientists. Yeah, so this is great. And the best country in the world, not for sharing health data, but for having access to health data is Estonia. So this is there incredible. 99% of the health is digitized. There are 2.3 million queries of doctors every month, and you have 1.8 million queries by patients every month. And you have to know Estonia is a very small country. It's 1.3 million inhabitants. So it means that already now, most citizens consult more than two times a month, sorry, their own health files. Well, I say that I don't have contact with Estonian citizens, so maybe it's more optimistic in the documents than in the real life, but still, it's really working great as far as I know. I will have no time to speak about the big data situation in Africa, but you can listen again to the presentation of Agbolab, because all presentations will be online soon. I will also not speak about big data situation in Asia, because you have to listen again to the presentation of Professor Taguchi. I will not speak also, except very briefly, for the big data situation in America, except to tell you that, but Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, there are many, let's say, health data portals in the US, but there is no public health data portal. And as far as I know, there are no health data portals in other American countries, what for me was a surprise, because countries like Chile, Costa Rica, Argentina, Brazil, they have good infrastructure, good, well, of course, not the best one, but good infrastructure, good IT systems. And please, if you know about countries who are working good, tell me and tell us in the chat what you know about this, because you know they are not far away from 200 political entities in the world, and we cannot know everything. So now a kind of a very brief summary of the legal, but also in fact, situation in most most countries of the world. For me, you can summarize this as this. So you have the obligation to share with private companies and with public entities companies. So in most countries, you are obliged to share health data with a private company, like for my Apple Watch, I don't have the choice to share or not to share. And also with public institutions, when you are going to your medical doctor, you don't have the choice or to share or not to share if you want to use their services. There are some limited possibilities to use your data. In quite a few countries, you can theoretically access your data. But okay, the problem is practically it is often or even almost always difficult, partial. You cannot reuse the data with other software or with other applications than the original, very often proprietary software. Your data is private data, especially for others than you. In most of the countries, most of the data that can be used for research is private property of, and what's for me not logical, property of public institutions that do not share it. They do not share it sometimes for legal reasons. They do not share it sometimes because they don't want. For me, it's very often a very strange and very sad situation. And last but not least, you are not allowed to share most of your data for science. In no country, you are allowed to be legally the really sole owner of your data. And in fact, you are never allowed to, well, almost never allowed to share it with scientists. Well, sharing would be unlawful. You are allowed to binge drinking. You are allowed to smoke 50 cigarettes a day, but you are not allowed to take small risk or even no risk to health science. Actually, it's here when you share data, you are, well, almost taking no risk for your own health. It's data that is already there. And even if you decide to do it, to share your data, scientists will have problems if they use your data. I like this example, you know, in my country, Belgium, if I'm taking a look at people in my street, well, it's okay. I'm not committing something unlawful. If I'm taking a look at the old people in my street, and there are many old people in my street, and I make statistics about how they behave in years and when they disappear because they die of old age, and I do that and I publish the statistics about this, I will be in an unlawful situation, crazy for me. And even if you decide to do this, scientists will have problem if they use your data. And even if scientists decide to use your data, they will not be able to get it in an official publication. So the conclusion is for me that I think most of us, we want, or at least most of us in the HILS and ILA organization, we want to create, to contribute to create a system that is trusted by citizens, managed by public institutions or by NGOs, where by default, opt-out, all health data, anonymized or pseudonymized, can be used for scientific research and not for other use. And the goal, of course, the final goal, of course, is to enable everyone to live a longer and healthier life. More precisely, not everyone, or only the people who want. If you want to live short and ugly life, you are still allowed to. Thank you for the organizers. Thank you again also for Marion, Virginie, Ilia who are here. So HILS and the ILA are among the many organizations who are working resolutely in these directions. You have three great websites, but there are many others. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter, The Death of the Dead. The subscribing is free for the first 2 centuries. After that, you have to pay. And so we have time for two questions. And I will wait in the, so first I will stop sharing my screen, or maybe somebody can stop it. I don't know. Okay, I will wait. Thank you, person who was doing it. So in the US, you can share your body parts to surgical replacement. Investigators use and publish the resulting data online through publication. Interesting, Elizabeth. Thank you for the information. Can you maybe for me and for everybody give a website about this? I didn't know about this. David, general question. What is the best way to establish standards allowing interchange of health data generated in different systems? For example, different hospitals, can these new standards be established with decentralized methods or free market competitors, or is it some measure of top-down coordination, e.g. assisted by members of the WHO? Well, this is a very long question. The short answer is I don't know. Oh, I'm lost. So I would say maybe if there is somebody else who can also give a beginning of answer about this, but I would say that at the moment, it's one of the problems that we don't have general standards to exchange in different systems. And for example, at the European level, you have a legislation who try to make this possible, but we don't have it and it's not easy. And I think that one of the central problems for this is that you have almost only proprietary systems. As far as I know, what's called federated systems are one of the best ways, because you have the possibility, let's say, to find information about the health data without accessing the information itself. One more answer is that at the European level, there are people studying these questions, but that's all what I can say in a very, very short time. And also, I would say this is one of the central questions, but for me, the other central question is, let's say, questions related to privacy and so on. But David, you can also, in 2 or 3 sentences, if you want, answer your own question. And then Peter is saying there are probably some national centers in EJ, for example, UK. Health data is common to a common standard for UK and infrastructure. I'm not sure that there are, well, there are probably some national standards indeed, but there are no international standards. As far as I know, there is a legislation at the European level, but I think it's only a goal, not a result. Okay. Thank you for, if there is no other question, I will now give the word to the last speaker before the pause and before the debate. So Stefan, the floor is yours now.